Hey there. In this video, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the ukulele, a Hawaiian instrument, and I'm going to show you how to tune the ukulele, some ways you can strum it, and I'm going to show you some chords as well. This is a Martin soprano ukulele, and again, ukuleles generally, unless it's a guitar lele, are 4 strings. They are easier to play than guitar. A lot of times little kids will start out on ukuleles, and you can kind of, everything you learn dexterity-wise on the ukulele can transfer to the guitar as well. And it is tuned very similar to a guitar. It's tuned to the top 4 strings of the guitar if you were at the 5th fret of a guitar. The only thing that's different and that makes the ukulele very unique is that the bottom string is actually tuned up. So this is a G, what's called a high G tuning. This is G, C, E, and A. Oftentimes, people will say, you know, my dog has fleas, and I'm not sure the origin of that, but that does give you that does kind of help you mentally think of the pitches, in that you've got a note that's high, and then you've got a lower note, and then a little bit higher, and then a little bit higher. So it's very, very unique in that regard. We're going to talk about that later when we get into chords, because it creates some really interesting and beautiful sounds. So that's basically, now you can have a ukulele where you could put a heavier string on the bottom and have what's called a low G tuning. And I have a kala that, this is a tenor ukulele. It's tuned basically the same way, except you can hear that the bottom string, instead of my dog has fleas, it's my dog has fleas. So it actually stays low. And so I have a little bit more, bottom end on it. And I like this sometimes for recording sessions. And it's a little bit bigger sound because it's a tenor. You can see the size difference here. You can see that the tenor is quite a bit bigger than the soprano. Okay, now let's talk about strumming it. There's a lot of different methods. I'm not a purist. I strum it different ways. When I'm playing ukulele, 99% of the time it's on a movie or a TV show or a game or maybe a recording, a record of some kind. If I want to sound more legit, I will use my thumb or my finger or maybe both. Okay, so you can strum. One of the nice things about strumming with your thumb is that you can actually support the instrument with your fingers. Okay, a lot of ukulele players will use their index finger. And it's a little harder to support it. You can always get a strap though for ukulele. You can always put a strap on it. And some will use a thumb and a finger combination, kind of like a flamenco player would. And I actually like that method. You can also use a regular plastic pick. And that way, if you're already a guitar player, you can immediately start playing a ukulele. You don't need to really... But also, when I was a kid, there was at the music store they had ukulele picks, and I was like, "What's a ukulele pick?" And they're felt picks, and so they kind of play like a pick, but they have more of a sound of a finger or a thumb. So a little bit softer sound, makes sense. Okay, and I'm not going to really show you any patterns, strumming patterns. There's lots of great videos on that. If I get a lot of response from this video, I may transition and do some ukulele videos. But one thing you can play around with, if you already know how to strum, you can try to do a little bit of a swing. Swinging is when you kind of move the upstroke a little later than exactly halfway between your downstrokes. I know that sounds a little confusing, but straight 8th notes sound like this. Really even, okay? I'll exaggerate the swing so you can hear it. See, I'm going down, up, down, up, down, up, down. The up is a lot closer to the down than the down is to the up, if that makes any sense. Okay, that was an extreme swing, but you could do a subtle swing. And you can play around with that, how much swing you want to put on your playing, but that would make it also much more traditional sounding, okay? All right. Now let me show you some chords. Like I said, one of the great things about ukulele is that some of the shapes, like this D shape, right, are very similar or identical to shapes that on guitar. But this would be, on a ukulele, this would be a G chord. But let's start out with simple ones first. A C chord on the ukulele can be played just with one finger, your third finger on the first string at the 3rd fret. And that would be C. F could be played this way. Put your first finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string and your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Okay. Now this one's a little bit more difficult. This is with the G chord. And if you've played guitar before and you know how to play a D chord, it's the same shape, it's just G. So we have open and then first finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and your 2nd finger is going to be here on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. Okay, another chord that's very easy is A minor. Just put your first finger on the, or you can put your 2nd finger, 1st finger, it doesn't really matter, 2nd finger, it depends on what you're coming from, I suppose. But you can put your first finger on the 2nd fret of the bottom string. And if you'll notice something, that bottom note is the same as the top note. So if I add my 2nd finger here, this would be like an A minor 2nd chord. You get a little bit more interesting sound. Otherwise you have two redundant notes. Also, if you just play all 4 strings open, just the my dog has fleas, that's an A minor 7 chord. Okay. Let's see, what other chords can we learn? Okay, this one here, this would be D minor. And what I'm playing is 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the bottom string, 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the next string, which is the 3rd string, 1st finger on the 1st fret of the, hard to see that, isn't it? 1st fret of the 2nd string, and then the E string open. But I'm including diagrams, so that should help. And that would be D minor. E minor, probably the best way to play it is just like this. And it's not particularly easy because you have to use all 4 fingers. But I'm playing the 4th fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret, and 1st fret. And I'm using my 3rd finger, my pinky, my 2nd finger, and my 1st finger. And again, you'll notice the bottom note and the top note are the same again. If we took our 1st finger off, we get kind of a cool E minor 4 chord. And that's really where I like the fact that you've got this string up an octave from normal guitar. It means some voicings are going to be really interesting. Like, for example, I'm going to show you G7. So you remember G was this one. G7 is this, you just kind of basically flip it over in some ways. It's open, 2nd fret, 1st fret, and 2nd fret. So I've got my 1st finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, my 3rd finger's on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, and my 2nd finger's on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And listen to, now normally, if I played G, I would have 2 G notes that are the same. I'm plucking the bottom string, can you see that? I'm plucking the bottom string and the 2nd string, and they're the same note. It's fine, it totally works, but it's not as interesting as the G7. Particularly interesting when you start arpeggio, playing finger picking it. And what that's called is a tight voicing, and that's very easy to do on piano, but on guitar that voicing is very difficult. Same thing with the C chord. If I went to C7, get more interesting voices this way. I could do A7 this way. Actually, if I want to do A major, here's A major. So I'm playing the bottom string, I'm playing second finger on the second fret, first finger on the first fret of the third string, and then the top two strings open. And again, we have 2A, so if I go to take off my second finger and just play one finger here, that's an interesting A7 voicing. Now you can't always use A7s or seventh chords. They may sound a little bit jazzy or bluesy in different contexts, but if you just want A, you can do that. A D chord would be this. So I'm playing all second frets except the top strings open. So I have my second finger on the second fret of the bottom string, then my third finger. It's very tight to get them all in there. You could use your first three fingers, but that's even more difficult for me because my fingers are a little bit bigger. So not a lot of real estate here on this fretboard. You see that? And that would be a D chord. Remember D minor? This is D major. E major, you can take that and slide that up 2 frets and then add your first finger at the top. And that would be an E major chord. Go back to D major. If we want to make it a D7, move the third finger down to the second string and make the third string open. So it's a 2-finger chord now. And that's a D7. Very interesting. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to get notifications. I'm live streaming on a regular basis, so make sure you check that out, and I'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Bye-bye.